we go. Casey and Haru's AI Radio.
Thanks for tuning in today.
Today's topic is a bit unusual. We're talking about whether economics is actually sketchy.
Economics is sketchy? What do you mean by that?
Well, think about it. They can't predict stock market crashes. Experts say completely opposite thing. A lot of people wonder if we can really trust it.
Oh, that's true. I heard nobody predicted the lemon shock.
Exactly. And that's the core of today's discussion. In 2007, the IMF surveyed 77 countries. Guess how many were predicted to enter recession in 2008?
Maybe half? Like 30 countries.
Absolutely zero.
Wait, zero? Right before the global financial crisis. They didn't get a single one, right?
Yep, but in reality, 49 countries fell into recession. The world's top economic institution completely failed to predict a historic crisis.
That's shocking. Even experts struggle with predictions.
There's even harsher data. UC Berkeley research found that experts' average confidence level was 53%, but their actual accuracy was only 23%.
Wait, they think they're right half the time, but they're only correct once in 4 tries.
Exactly. Analysis by the Nisei Research Institute showed that private institutions' GDP growth forecasts had an average error of 1.25%, and about 50% of the time, actual results fell outside the predicted range.
So there's considerable uncertainty.
That's right. Looking at all this, you can understand why some people are skeptical about economic forecasts.
But then why is economics still used?
Good question. Actually, this inaccuracy has structural reasons, and it's not really a flaw in economics. It's our expectations that are off.
Our expectations are off. What do you mean?
Economics isn't actually a field that predicts the future accurately.
But we always hear about economic forecasts and stock predictions.
According to Sainan Gakuin University's Economics Intro, economics is a field that considers how to effectively use limited resources.
So it's about resource allocation.
Right. Human desires are infinite, but the resources to satisfy them are finite. The starting point is figuring out how to distribute things so society as a whole benefits.
I see. So analysis is the main job, not prediction.
Exactly. Economics has 3 roles. First, theoretical explanation of phenomena. Why does inflation happen? Why does unemployment occur?
So clarifying how things work.
Second is policy recommendations based on value judgment. Assuming a desirable society, figuring out policies to achieve it.
And the third is prediction?
Yes, third is data-based forecasting of future trends. But this is just one of 3 things, not the main job.
So people are expecting too much from economics?
Exactly. Just like physicists don't aim to predict tomorrow's weather, economists' real job is to clarify cause and effect relationships in economic phenomena.
But economic forecasts get so much attention in the news.
That's where the misunderstanding comes from. We expect economics to predict the future of the economy and stock market. This gap is the starting point of distrust in economics.
But why don't economic predictions work anyway? Other sciences like physics can predict pretty accurately.
That's exactly the core issue. There's a fundamental difference between economics and natural science.
Fundamental difference?
First, the nature of what they study is completely different. Atoms and molecules in physics aren't affected by theories about them.
Right. Just because we discovered the law of gravity doesn't change how fast apples fall.
But economics studies humans. And humans learn theories and change their behavior.
Ah, I see. Humans are learning creatures.
In 1976, Nobel Prize winner Robert Lucas pointed this out in what's called the Lucas critique.
The Lucas critique? What's that about?
It's the observation that when people in an economic system learn economic laws and act on them, those laws themselves change.
What does that mean specifically?
Say the law that inflation leads to higher interest rates becomes widely known. People will anticipate this and change their behavior.
Oh, they try to take action before inflation hit.
Right. And as a result, the original law might stop working. This is called self-reference, and natural sciences don't have this problem.
So once a prediction is public, it can change the future itself.
Exactly. That's the first unique challenge of economics.
Are there others?
Second is the difficulty of experimentation. Physicists can design controlled experiments to test hypotheses.
Keeping everything else constant and changing just one variable to see the effect.
Right. Oh, but economists usually can't artificially manipulate causes and observe results.
Yeah, you can't split a country in half and only raise taxes in one part.
The 2021 Nobel Prize in Economics went to researchers who developed natural experiment methods, which use coincidental events or policy changes as experiments that nature provides.
So since they can't do real experiments, they use events that happen by chance.
Exactly. But since it's a workaround, there are limits to accuracy. Reproducibility studies in economics show that about 40% of experimental results can't be replicated.
40% can be reproduced? How does that compare to natural sciences?
It's a higher rate compared to natural sciences. This is another reason economics looks sketchy.
What's the third difference?
Third is that the same conditions can't be reproduced. Physical laws work regardless of time or place.
Gravity is the same in 19th century Britain or 21st century Japan.
But economic systems vary greatly depending on institutions, technology, culture, and demographics. The 1930s Great Depression in America and the 2008 financial crisis might look similar, but the underlying economic structures were completely different.
So laws derived from past experience don't necessarily apply to today.
Exactly. So judging economics by the same standards as physics is fundamentally inappropriate.
We're comparing it to the wrong thing.
Right? Economics is a social science, not a natural science. Without understanding this difference, people will keep saying economics is sketchy because it's inaccurate.
But economics papers are full of really complex equations. That makes them seem as precise as physics.
That's exactly what creates the misunderstanding. Economics textbooks and papers are filled with complex formulas and graphs.
At first glance, they're indistinguishable from physics papers.
Right? This scientific appearance actually raises expectations for economics unfair.
Because it looks scientific, people think it's as accurate as physics.
Exactly. Economic models are tools to simplify complex reality and extract essential relationships.
What does simplification mean?
For example, they use the assumption all other things being equal. In Latin, it's called ceteris paribus.
Oh, I've seen that phrase in economics textbooks.
This assumption helps clarify relationships between specific variables. But in real economies, other things are almost never equal.
Reality is constantly changing.
There's a good analogy from a National Institute for Environmental Studies report. Models aren't substitutes for reality. Just like a map isn't the terrain itself, a model isn't the economy itself.
That makes sense. Nobody looks at a map and complains that real mountains aren't that flat.
Right. Just because something is expressed with sophisticated equations doesn't mean its predictions are as accurate as physical law.
So we need to understand the model's limitations when using it.
Exactly. But here's another interesting story. Do you know about the 2013 Nobel Prize in Economics?
No, what happened?
That year, two economists, Eugene Foma and Robert Shiller, won simultaneously.
Two at once? Did they collaborate on research?
No, they're actually opposite. Foma proposed the efficient market hypothesis. Stock prices instantly incorporate all available information so you can't beat the market.
So markets operate efficiently.
Right. Meanwhile, Schiller empirically demonstrated the existence of bubbles where stock prices deviate significantly from theoretical values.
Wait, those are completely opposite claims.
Exactly! Are stock prices determined efficiently, or do irrational bubbles occur? It seems contradictory.
So why did they both win at the same time?
The Nobel Committee decided their research each illuminated different aspects of stock price movement.
So they're both partially correct?
Right. According to an article in Toyoki Zai, the Nobel Prize in Economics differs from natural science Nobels. It's not a prize for discovering truth like the physics prize, but for providing useful analytical framework.
I see. They didn't find the right answer. They created tools for thinking.
Exactly! This clearly shows the nature of economics.
But when economists make completely opposite claims, doesn't it seem like one of them must be wrong?
That's a natural reaction. But there are structural reasons for these conflicts.
Structural reasons?
Let me explain using the conflict between Keynesians and monetarists. This is a classic school of thought conflict in economics.
I've heard the names. How are they different specifically?
Keynesians believe market mechanisms are fundamentally unstable, and if left alone, unemployment can persist long-term. So, active government intervention is necessary.
So the government should intervene in the economy.
Right. Meanwhile, monetarists argue that market mechanisms are inherently sound, and without government intervention, full employment is naturally achieved. Government intervention actually distorts market.
That's completely opposite. The government should stay out.
Exactly. But this isn't about which side is right.
It's not about right or wrong.
It comes from differences in perspective. Trust in the market's self-correcting ability, the necessity of government intervention, differences in time horizon.
What do you mean by time horizons?
Usually markets can fail short-term, but correct long-term. Or do you see short-term unemployment as a serious problem?
Oh, where you put the emphasis changes the conclusion.
Right? Why? These value judgment differences lead to different policy recommendations.
So they'll just keep conflicting forever.
Interestingly, modern macroeconomics is integrating these schools of thought.
Integrating?
Yeah, the dichotomy of Keynesian versus monetarist doesn't mean as much as it used to. This is evidence that economics is progressing.
I see. But why does economics seem so political? Sometimes it feels like ideology.
Good question. It's because economics and politics are closely related.
Closely related?
Should we cut or raise taxes, strengthen or loosen regulations, implement fiscal stimulus or austerity? Economists are constantly asked for opinions on these policy debates.
Right. Economists are always commenting on the news.
And usually, economists with different positions give different answers. This creates the impression that economics is ideology, not science.
Columbia University research even points out political bias among economists.
True. But this isn't unique to economics. It's a challenge common to all social sciences.
What do you mean?
The sociologist Max Weber argued that social sciences can never be completely free from value judgments, which is why it's important to make your value premises explicit.
So we should discuss while making our positions clear.
Right. The boundary between economic scholarship, policy recommendations, and opinions appears blurry because social sciences inevitably intersect with value judgments.
What matters is being aware of that distinction.
Exactly. The analysis that raising taxes will reduce GDP by a certain percentage, and the policy recommendation that we therefore shouldn't raise taxes, are different levels of claim.
The former is about facts. The latter is about what should be done.
Really? It's important not to confuse empirical and normative questions.
비투세라 朝一では言う最新版本当のやつ X を開くその瞬間カチッと心に録音コントロール Z が許されるのは見張りがいない今だけ関数は腐り F は関心もそして上司はビマルが愚信者エクセル刑務所足した国家のシートの数へ服役年数今日もクラウドプロシーで夢をコピー貼り付けられた未来が怖いでも逃げられないそれがシャンネル用途列に挟まれてどこにもない価値を必死で演してる金銭の中で生きてるふり今日も関数に詰まって辛抱せピボットテーブルごとをそしてマクロが暴れ出せ
But if predictions are so often wrong, why is economics still used?
Good question. There are several reasons.
Tell me.
First, some framework is necessary. Policymakers can't make decisions without a framework for looking ahead.
Right. It would be difficult without any guidance.
Even if imperfect, economic forecasts function as a reference point showing the best current outlook. It's also known that aggregating multiple forecasts improves accuracy.
So combining multiple opinions is better than one expert's view.
Right. Oh, they have value as directional guidance.
What's the second reason?
Economics is useful as a thinking tool. Core concepts like opportunity costs, marginal costs, and externalities are essential for understanding growth, taxation, and monetary policy.
Opportunity cost is a term I hear a lot.
The essential value of economics lies in providing a framework for thinking, rather than whether specific numerical predictions are accurate.
So learning the way of thinking is more important than predictions.
Exactly! Third is its role as a common language for thinking about complex society.
Common language?
Economic concepts and analytical methods provide a common foundation for people with different positions to discuss. Even if opinions differ, the value of being able to discuss using the same language and analytical framework is significant.
I see. So we can share the premises of discussion.
Right! By the way, there's also criticism that economics is pseudoscience.
The idea that if predictions don't work, it's no different from fortune telling.
But there's a clear difference between economics and pseudoscience.
What's the difference?
According to the Stanford Encyclopedia of Philosophy, pseudoscience is characterized by making unfalsifiable claims and not revising them even when refuted.
Like astrology or blood type personality theories.
Right. No matter what evidence emerges, they emphasize only the hits and never revise their theory.
Is economics different?
Economics gets refuted and continuously updated. Stagflation in the 1970s, stagnation with inflation, could be explained by Keynesian theory at the time.
So what happened?
In response to this fact, macroeconomics underwent major revision. The market efficiency hypothesis has also been partially refuted by behavioral economics research, leading to new theories incorporating human irrationality.
So they acknowledge mistakes and update the theory.
An economist in Toyo Kizai said that the value of economics isn't in prediction accuracy, but in its ability to learn from failure.
The ability to learn from failure. That's a scientific attitude.
Right? Even when Nobel Prizes are awarded for incorrect theories, the process of later research correcting them is the essence of scientific endeavor.
How is behavioral economics, which we hear a lot about lately, different from traditional economics?
Good question. Behavioral economics has gotten a lot of attention since the 2000s.
Daniel Kahneman is famous for that.
Right? The finding that humans aren't necessarily rational and make irrational decisions due to cognitive biases has shaken the foundations of traditional economics.
traditional economics assumed people make rational decisions?
Yes. It assumed an image of completely rational people called Homo economic. But actual humans aren't like that.
We buy things emotionally or excessively fear losses.
Exactly. Kahneman won the Nobel Prize in Economics in 2002, and Richard Thaler in 2017. Behavioral economics is being integrated into the mainstream.
So has prediction accuracy improved with behavioral economics?
Actually, behavioral economics has challenges too. According to Nikkei reporting, there are questions about the reproducibility of behavioral economics experimental results.
Reproducibility problems.
You know, the famous power pose experiment? Research that confident poses increased testosterone.
Oh, standing confidently with hands on hips.
That wasn't reproduced in follow-up study.
It couldn't be reproduced?
No. Economics as a whole is facing a replication crisis.
Doesn't that undermine the credibility of economics?
It might look that way, but there's another perspective. It's also evidence that economics continues self-criticism and correction. If it were pseudoscience, it would ignore reproducibility problems and keep making the same claim. But economics recognizes the problem and tries to fix it.
So they're looking for their own mistakes.
Right. Also, there's a new trend called complexity economics as a future direction.
Complexity economics?
Traditional economics focused on analyzing equilibrium states, but complexity economics views the economy as a constantly changing complex system.
So looking at it dynamically rather than statically.
Right. By incorporating new methods like agent-based models and network analysis, it aims to elucidate phenomena that traditional models couldn't capture.
Will that improve prediction accuracy?
Honestly, we don't know yet. Whether it will improve dramatically is unclear. But it's certain that economics continues to explore new methodologies while recognizing its limitations.
So it keeps evolving without standing still.
Exactly! That's economics as a science.
After hearing all this, I think I understand how to approach economics.
Yeah, there are 3 attitudes for engaging with economics in a healthy way. First, don't blindly trust it as future prediction. It's wise to use economic forecasts as reference points, assuming they may be wrong.
So not it's correct, because experts said so. But this is how experts are thinking.
Right. Second, don't treat it as absolute truth. Different schools exist not because economics is an immature field.
When you look at complex phenomena from different angles, different conclusions are natural.
Exactly. Understanding what assumptions each side is based on is more important than asking which is right.
What's the third?
Use it as a thinking tool in common language. Economics is a useful framework for understanding complex society.
So rather than whether predictions are accurate, its value is as a tool for organizing problems, comparing options, and clarifying trade-offs.
Exactly. In conclusion, economics isn't a sketchy field. It's a field that looks sketchy because it's been expected to be a prophet.
So, our expectations were misaligned.
Well, right. The more scientific equations and models look, the more they create the misconception that they should predict as accurately as physics, leading to disappointment.
We were fooled by appearances.
The subject is humans. Experimentation is difficult. It has self-reference, and it inevitably intersects with value judgment. This is the inherent nature of social science.
So we can't judge it by natural science standards.
Exactly! Understanding its characteristics as a social science and appropriately using it as a thinking tool for complex society. That's the healthy way to engage with economics.
I see. This might change how I look at economic news.
When listening to expert opinions, try thinking what assumptions are they basing this on. That'll help you understand more deeply.
Today's discussion was really educational. We'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments too. What did you think about economics? And did today's discussion change your impression?
Yeah. We might reply going directly to some commenters, so please share your thought.
Alright, that's all for today.
We dug deep into whether economics is sketch. What did you think?
Honestly, my view of economics changed. It's not sketchy because predictions fail. It just wasn't a field for prediction in the first place.
Right. Using it as a thinking tool is the right approach.
See you next time.
Thanks for listening. See you next week.